Cool, right, we'll move on to Christian Jones, who's asking, at what point should you stop gigging for free? Because a lot of the time you want the experience and exposure, but at the same time you want a cut-off point.
Such a good question, this is. Such a good question, because it's not just saying, should I gig for free? Because if you watch my videos, one thing you will be aware of is when I give advice, it's how you can be successful. And it's not what's fair. And I hate that word fair, because fair is bullshit, because there is no fair, because if I want something, I'm going to do whatever it takes for me to win over the next person trying to get it, because I'm competitive. And I'm not going to say, hey, I won this audition, so I'm going to let you have that audition. Fuck that, no way. I'm going to take that audition straight out of your hands if I can get it, because this is my career and I'm not there trying to dish out my opportunities to other people. So I think this is a great question of you're recognizing that you're young, that you need to build experience, you need to meet people, you need to actually do the thing that you want to do in order to get very, very good at it. Therefore, free is a very, very powerful tool. However, the genius of this question is, at what point do you know when to stop? So it's slightly supply and demand, because when people want you, they will pay for you. So you're trying to build up. So one thing I would do is, when you're going into this idea of free work, which I know people are going to watch this, and I know people are going to give me so much stick on YouTube, and they're going to go, fuck you, man, you're dragging the economy down for other musicians. Tough. The way it works. If I want, when I go and do workshops over in America, the first bunch of them will probably be free, but eventually they'll be paid. That's just the way it works. You build it up. So when it comes to this, I would start to put a number on it. Now, this can be flexible, but if I was going to approach an agency and say, let me do some gigs for free to prove to you that I can do a really, really good job, I would do that. And I would say, let me do 5 gigs for free. Let me do 10 gigs free. Whatever you feel comfortable with. I probably would think of it as the next thing as a period of time where you're going to try and do, if you are committing to it, to doing as much stuff for free in that amount of time and using it, because that's what it is. This is about building or investing, I should say, in yourself. So if I were going to do free work, then I would be using it as an investment. So I would say this is, whether it's as covers or being a musician as a session work, whatever it is, every time I did that free gig, I would make sure I was getting videos, I was getting pictures, and I was using it to build up my profile. Now, how long this takes can depend on how hard you work. However, if people are seeing that you're busy, they will start coming to you and saying, oh, can you please play on my record? Or can you please play on my gig? And that is what you're trying to do. So you're trying to almost kickstart someone else coming to you. So when you go to someone and say, let me do this gig for you, then what's in it for them? Because they can find anybody. So that's when you say do it for free. When they come to you and they say, I want to get you playing on my stuff, you have a lot more leverage. You have a lot more of the power to be able to say, okay, yeah, I can do that. And then you're going to be incremental with your prices. The one thing I see when it comes to pricing is there's this musician union rate. And I'm like, well, I don't understand the musicians union rate, because if someone's prepared to do it for less and someone won't do it, or won't do it for unless it's twice as much, then there's just a rate for everybody. If somebody wants to teach at £10 and someone wants to teach at £100 an hour, then that's just their rate. There's a recommended, I guess, average. But if you put yourself out and just say, I'm not going to go out for less than £100 for a gig, and nobody will pay you for that gig, then you've overpriced it, because you are not worth the £100 purely. Whether it's a marketing or a musicianship, people aren't paying you. So therefore, for whatever reason, you aren't worth £100 yet, but you will be. So your job is to find your price point, starting at whatever you want to be. I would recommend free, and then using that as an investment. And every time you meet someone, because it's free, this is the important bit, because it's free, everything's an opportunity. If you meet someone, you're like, right, well, I didn't get paid in money, but I got paid in meeting this guy. If it's social media, then I'm going to go to town on every bit of footage that I can possibly do, and I'm going to use that to build myself a website. I'm going to build myself a Facebook, and I'm going to build myself a YouTube, and I'm going to push myself out there. Now, this is a big thing. There's lots of people who watch this who went to music college, and you'll know this. You're at music college, you're looking around, and everyone goes, and everyone's excited to be on music college. All of a sudden, someone will put themselves out there. They'll put a website together. They'll put a professional Facebook together. They'll start making videos. All of a sudden, they get elevated above everybody else, whether everyone likes it or not. And so when you make a professional Facebook and you share it amongst your friends, people will say, oh, okay, well, I know who you are and I know what you do. Now, every time you're adding to that, you're adding a little bit of trust into them so that you become the go-to girl. And so as you build up this social proofing, this trust in people, when someone says to them, I need a band, or I need a singer, or I need a bass player, you have to be the first person that comes to mind. Now, as people are asking you to do more and more, and your diary gets fuller and fuller and fuller, at that point you can start to say, look, I feel like I can start to do without bits of this. So I'm prepared to, because I'm doing maybe bits of teaching or maybe covers bands and maybe some session work, I'm prepared to carry on doing the session work to build my name, but I'm getting asked to do lots of these sorts of covers gigs, for example, for nothing or for 50 quid with my covers band. I'm just going to put the price up by 20%, 30%. I'm going to put it up to 50, or I'm going to put it up to 100. You'll soon know whether that's working or not. And as long as you're flexible, as long as you don't mind taking it back down again, then you win. Because when it comes to price structure, you can go backwards. I can say, I'm selling this for £10. If someone says, I'm not paying that, if I say, okay, I'll sell it for £5, and then I sell it, then I know my price point is £5. If I put my price up to me doing a gig too far and it's not working, I can always bring it down again. You don't have to be stuck in that position. So it is supply and demand. This is about you building a name for yourself and using the free in order to get your name out there. And then when you are ready to start charging, it's about being sensible with how much you're going to charge and actually experimenting a little bit and saying, I'm going to charge £50 for every time I write a song, because I'm writing so many songs and people are asking me for songs so many times. I'm going to put my price up to £50. I know I'm going to lose half or 3/4 of the work because it was free. However, I'm going to keep 25% of it, and that's a really good place to start. So it's about incremental, being patient, not trying to jump into professional fees straight away, and actually using everything as an opportunity on the way to build your career over the time. So you'll know, because you'll be busy enough to say, I can't take on any more work. If it was me, I would ram my diary out, and then after that I'd say, look, I feel like I've put the time and effort in to now experiment with a little bit of a charge, see how people react when I say it, and if they're horrified and they just tell me I'm not worth it, then maybe I'll rethink. But at that point, probably people will.
Yeah, quite often people are more willing than you expect, I think, as well.
They are, yeah, especially once you've put the free work in. I think that, for me, the thing that I think people don't like is when people are fresh out of college and they just said, I've just done a music degree, I want £1,000 for my covers band. And I'm like, well, you're trying to compete with all of the rest of them on the same level. Whereas if you were smart about it and said, look, I'm going to do 10 gigs for free, I'm going to build my marketing up with that, then after that, I'm going to put my price up to 300 quid, because that way 3 of us can have 100 quid or 4 of us can have 70 quid, and you're building it up incrementally. And I'd put time frames on it so that you can see that in a year's time, hopefully you'll have got to the target you wanted.
Yeah, and got the recognition.